Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Straight Up with Steph. Today's a really cool episode. I have another independently practicing hygienist. This time she is in California. Her name is Sade, and she shares her story on how she started her business. She has so many great tips. If anyone is thinking about going down this road, definitely listen to this episode. And she also mentors and helps hygienists who want to start their own practice too. She's figured it out. She is a wealth of knowledge and she is so passionate. You're going to see it and hear it. She's so passionate about what she's doing and just about hygienists knowing their worth and being able to practice however they want to, whether that's in a traditional dental practice or going out on their own, maybe doing mobile dentistry or starting their own brick and mortar practice. There's a lot of stuff going on right now within dentistry as far as potentially other people doing hygiene duties, and everyone's freaked out and thinking they're going to lose their job. But really, it's thinking about how we can practice in a non traditional way. I think it's time for this old model of dentistry to change. And Sade is a great example of how that can actually work. I hope you enjoy today's episode with Sade. Hey, it's Steph, and welcome to the Straight Up with Steph podcast, where we have real discussions around health and life and just trying to be better at both. Hello, Sade. I've got another independently practicing hygienist. Last time I interviewed another one, so we're just going to keep this rolling. I'm really excited that you're here, and I want to hear your story. Like, how long have you been a hygienist, and when did you start practicing independently?
Yes. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to, be able to come and connect with other fellow hygienists. So I'm Sade. I'm a registered dental hygienist in alternative practice here in Southern California. I've been a hygienist for 10 years now, and I've been practicing independently for 6 years. So,
Mm,
about halfway into my career, I started to feel like I wanted more. And the funny thing is, so here in the state of California, the program, the Registered Dental Hygienist in Alternative Practice, it's been around for a long time. It's been around since the late 80s and it wasn't implemented until the early 2000s after the
okay.
pilot. It has been something that's been around, but it hasn't been talked about, right? So even when I was in hygiene school, I didn't even really hear about it so much.
Mm,
And while I was working corporate dentistry, it was like a friend of a friend I heard was an AP. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I heard it was an alternative practice. And it was a way for hygienists to work outside the dental office. And it really piqued my interest. So I went back to school. You had to have your bachelor's degree or at least 180 units of science that had to be like an equivalent to a bachelor's. I already had went to school before I became a hygienist, and then you needed to have so many hours. It was like 6,000 hours or so already practicing. So almost like 3 years as a hygienist, three plus in an office. And then you had to get a form filled out by the office that you've been practicing in to turn in those hours for the program. And the
okay.
program is about 5 months long. So it's not too long. And it really focuses on people that are homebound, have disabilities, school settings, medical settings. And like me, if you are working in a designated area, which is an area that doesn't have a lot of access to offices that are taking the state medical insurances or have like an affordable program for patients, maybe like immigrants, low income, access to care, you can open up a dental hygiene practice in that area. So a lot of people feel like, oh, it has to be in a rural area. Not necessarily. It just needs to be in an area where there isn't access and a dental hygienist is needed. And that could be almost anywhere, right? Actually, the first 2 years of being AP, I was mobile and I am still mobile. I still offer my mobile services. I do go to senior centers and I do have some regulars that are disabled. They're homebound, they can't make it
Hmm.
to a regular setting. And then 2 years into to being a mobile hygienist, I knew two friends that had their own office. And I said, this is the next step. I really want this. I want to help my community. And I do want a brick and mortar. I want an area where people can
Hmm.
come see me. And so my area wasn't originally designated. It took me about a year and a half to get the area designated, and it required calling hundreds of dental offices to verify if they were accepting Medi-Cal. Believe it or not, a lot of dentists had moved out of the area, had retired, were no longer taking Medi-Cal. And so I, and along with a few of my friends, because really it is the teamwork that makes the dream work.
Yeah.
I had hygienists, friends that I paid to help me make these calls and get this list and collect the data in the area to send to the dental boards to show them that this area is a need. So once it got approved a year and a half later, I did my due diligence to get my office going and making sure that I was up to date with everything that's needed with OSHA and everything that is needed to run a full functioning dental hygiene office.
That's what I was gonna ask is, like, when you first started kind of thinking about this, did you think that you were gonna be starting your own business? Is that something that you've always had in your mind? And also, when you first got started, how did you figure everything out, like the equipment and the insurance and making sure that you're up to code and finding a building? Like, did you work with a coach?
Yes, and I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't so easy. So there is a lot
I
of
bet.
Facebook groups where we connect, but sometimes I don't feel like there was a lot of information going around. I do feel that for a long time, even the dental hygienists that became APs 10 years ago, I think they were a little timid to share information, whether
Mhm.
they felt like, oh, well, maybe they felt territorial over their area, or they just felt like, well, this is such a gift. We don't want to lose it. But here's the thing, we are stronger together. Only having a handful of APs does not make the AP license strong, right? And so I really couldn't wrap my mind around it. And I was like, you know what? I had luckily some friends that are the same age group as me and more millennials, and we're a little bit more open minded. And we're like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Because you know what? If her office is doing good, my office is doing good, her office is doing good, we're all doing good. It's a lot harder for the boards to say, oh, well, there's only a few of you that really want to do this. This is really extracurricular. No, 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 no. We are entrepreneurs. We are business women. We
Yeah.
want this. And so for me, it was hard. I did get out there. I did a lot of Googling. I did a lot of work. I did have a lot of help. So my mom is a CPA and she is an accountant and she's ran the Women's Business Center here in the Inland Empire for 16 years. So she did help me a lot with creating a business, basically a platform of like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So I did take my mom's courses. I was already keen to business. It was helpful taking those classes. And during the time that I was in the AP program, they were like, you need this, you need that, you need to buy instruments. So instead of waiting for the program to end and start that, I immediately started accumulating the things that I needed. I bought my autoclave, I bought my mobile cart. I already was like, I'm going to do this. I want to not be done with school and then feel like, oh, this is something I'll kind of get to. I already had everything as soon as school was over.
Okay, so the program itself kind of gave you like a checklist maybe of things that you needed to do and you just started doing it. I know
Absolutely.
starting a business is expensive. So did you just kind of like piece things together as you could, or did you actually apply for a loan?
Right. So I did a little bit of a multitude of things. So
Okay.
as I was going to the program online, I continued to work my full-time hygiene job. And with that money, I would slowly start buying my instruments and this and that. When it came down for me to lease my building, I had to show so much money in the bank to get approved to lease there. I had to have a certain credit score. Two things. Yes, my mom, her program did help me on grant writing and business writing. So I did apply for business loans. I did apply through, I can't think of the name right now, but there's SBA. It's like business loans that you could get.
Mhm.
And if you write things correctly, there is target words that they are looking for. And we are the perfect candidates to get these loans because we are providing services to the community, and services are always needed and they always generate income. So yeah, there is certain things when you're writing to help yourself get approved, but obviously you should have a good credit score. And also it did help that I was a homeowner. I did buy my house a long time ago and I did have a lot of equity, and so I was able to also pull out equity to renovate my building.
Oh, that's nice. How did you pick your building?
So, first, I had to let the board know I had to send them addresses to verify if they fell into designated. So, once my area was approved, it's very
Mm,
vast. So, not only do they need to approve the area where you can work, they need to approve the street. So, I would send them addresses of open lots that I was interested in, and they would either say yes or no. And luckily, the first one that I chose, they approved it. I printed it, I emailed it, I laminated it, I put it on the wall, and I owned actually another business there. I co own another separate business. It's a teeth whitening lounge. It's a separate entity. Anyway, I got a certain part of the building approved, designated, and I built it hygiene. It has to have everything a hygiene office needs as far as sterilization. There's certain rules that the city required of me before
mhm,
they even approved me to start seeing patients. They wanted to know, am I going to be dealing with heavy metals or like biohazard? So luckily, us dental hygienists, we're not doing extractions, we're not doing
mhm.
fillings, we're just doing cleanings. And once I met all the standards and I had to have the city come in and approve, I was good to go. My doors were ready to get open.
Oh my gosh. So when you were listing all that off, I was just like, oh my God, you have to have a really strong will and a desire to go through this because really
Yes,
it's much easier, right, to work for someone else in a traditional practice.
absolutely.
So why did you want to do this?
You know why? And I want this for all hygienists. If a hygienist wants to work in a dental office, they should be able to. But if a dental hygienist wants to work somewhere else, they should
Mm,
have the option to do so. If I can go get my oil change, Walmart here, there, a person should be able to get their teeth cleaning in multiple places. This is access to care. Why is
yeah.
it very limited and stringent and so red tape? This is just a need that I think the a community needs. And I felt it. Like there was so many times where I felt like my hands were tied. And that was the real drive. It was I was very happy and I was very content. I only worked 7 miles away from my office. It was good when it was good, but when it wasn't good, it wasn't. Here's the thing. My dentist was great. And you hear all this all the time. My dentist was great. He let me do what I want, blah, blah, blah. But he had two associates that weren't so great. They didn't have the same respect for me. And so it's like, well, when he's here, everything's good. But when he's not, it didn't fall in line. It's like, why does my position have to change? One minute you see me as a professional clinician that I am, that I'm generating income for the office, which I am.
Mhm.
And then the next minute you treat me like an employee or can you do this or belittle me, tell me to take out the trash, even though I just produced $3,000 for the office that did help pay for the other workers. Right. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
did not like that feeling because I knew what I was bringing to the office and I didn't like to be like teetered around like that. At the time actually I just turned 31 and I said, "Why am I working like this?" Like the manager, she had like denied my vacation and I had been there for 8 years at the time. And
Mm.
she was like, "Oh, sorry because we're going to really need you this." And I said, "I've never called out. Like I'm going on this vacation." And making me feel like my position was always on the line and like I had to be there. And you know what? I don't know what it was. After my 30th birthday, the 31st birthday, I said, you know what? If I don't do something different now, I'm not going to do it. And I just did not want to work like this. I felt like I was Robin Hood at work. I
Mm.
felt like there was a lot of underdiagnosing and overdiagnosing just to one, accommodate the dentist or the insurance. And what I mean by this is example, I'll keep it short, but there was a new patient. He's 65 years old. He hadn't had a cleaning in 6+ years. He had radiographic calculus, bleeding. He had 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters on probing. Why did the dentist put prophy in there?
Mm.
Why?
Yeah.
And why did I have to hunt it down, chase the front to go change that? This should be an automatic. And I looked at that associate. You know why? Because the patient had a PPO and he wanted to diagnose 4 crowns. and he didn't want the insurance money to get taken up by SRPs.
Oh,
I
yeah.
looked at him, I said, "Are we looking at the same x-ray?" Like, why did it get to the point where I had to call him out? He's all, "Oh," he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, if you want to put something else in there, if I want to, what I'm putting in there, what needs to be in there, and you know it's
Right.
wrong." I pulled up
Yeah.
the perio chart, and he's all, "Well, I mean, whatever you want to put in there." No, it's not whatever I want to put
It's not
in
about
there.
me. Yeah.
I was like, "So if I'm not here a certain day, just whatever, there's no standard for us because we don't
Yeah.
diagnose." That's why. I had had it up to here.
Yeah.
So it was just the perfect timing that another hygienist had come in, and I had overheard about AP, and it just piqued my interest.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was full throttle. I said, "That's it. I'm doing something else."
Well, I think too, I mean, everything you just said, I've experienced that too. And it just gets old to constantly be beating your head against the wall and like you feel like the crazy one, and you're just like, this is how it should be done. But also, most hygienists, in my opinion, I feel that we are overtrained and overqualified for what we're actually allowed to do. These models, like what you have, the RDHAP, kind of lets us in clinical practice, we're butting up against a ceiling that we cannot, like, there's nowhere else to go for us. And this kind of
Yes.
model, it's like there's tons of things that we can do.
100% opens the door. And not only does it give us the autonomy that we deserve, it also shows that some dentists say, "Well, I don't want to pay a hygienist a certain amount," or "they just want this," or "they just want that." No, I don't. You don't have to pay me. I don't want you to pay me. I would rather pay myself. If you
Yeah.
can't afford me, I can afford myself. So they think that we are this person. So I had to do this. I had to do this for my community to show that not only can we do it, we want to do it. And we
Yeah.
are fully capable. We are mothers, we are business owners, we are entrepreneurs, we are homeowners. Do you think I just want to come to work and scale teeth and that's all I know how to do? Like
Yeah.
my credit score, you don't want to say it like that, but you want to say like, because I don't have the same amount of debt that you might have, I might be a great business partner. Like dentists should start re-looking at how they see hygienists.
Totally.
Oh, like a
Yeah.
burden, this is my employee. No, no, no. Because I don't have the same amount of debt that you have, I was able to attain this loan and buy this. And if you're able to see that as a benefit to your business and your business practice, you could see that, oh, I could actually partner with them and they can actually attain certain things. I'm not your burden. If anything, if you saw me different, I'm bringing business in. There was a dentist I worked with, and we are both actually buying our house at the same time.
Uh-huh.
She was like 31 at the time, and I was 24 when I bought my house. This was 2011. We were in a recession at the time. She was great. I loved her. But here's the thing, we were both in a time of our lives we wanted to buy a house. And so I got approved because I wasn't in hygiene school before I bought my house yet. So I hadn't even gone to hygiene school. I owned my car. I had always had all my bills were always paid on time. And I had got my first credit card at 18. So I had like a already good long standing by the time I was 24. I was like, oh, okay, this person has a long credit history. Not long, but it was a decent enough. When we both were going through the home buying process, I remember her saying, "Oh, I didn't get approved because of my student loan and my new car and this and that." And I was like, "Oh, I did. I got approved and I bought my house." I bought my house
Mm.
3 years before her. And I just say that little tidbit because just because you're a dentist and you did this and that, it doesn't negate the fact that we're not just here to clean teeth. We are
Right.
entrepreneurs, business women, and we are capable of more. And the license is very outdated and very limited. And it's really hurting their practice. It's just hurting the people that we could be serving better. It's just outdated and stunted, and it really needs to be updated to match other mid-level providers and
Yeah.
really the services that should be being rendered to the community, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like we bitch and moan, about insurance and how nothing has changed in the last like, I don't know, 50 years or whatever, but it's the same with these outdated practice models. We should change and do more collaborative things or maybe practice almost like a nurse practitioner. I mean, we've seen how successful that has been. Like, why
It
can't we
is.
model things after that?
I think that even some of the newer dentists don't even understand why or why not. It's just old rhetoric that the hygienists before us, they have been made felt guilty like, well, at least I have a job, I make a decent wage, I
Yes.
shouldn't be
Yep.
complaining, and I just need to do my work. And no, no, we see The patients leaving without their cleaning. We see them getting underdiagnosed, overdiagnosed, and you can still be successful, be a business owner, and do good by people. There's really actually no reason to hold me hostage. I'm grown. I've already had 2 kids. I know what I'm doing. I
Yeah.
don't need you to hold my hand whatsoever. It's actually kind of silly. And now with social media, almost probably embarrassing because now there's states like Minnesota and Oregon that have already now allowed assistants to start anesthetizing when you still have the South not even allowing the hygienists that went to school and spent weeks and hours practicing, not allowing them to do it. Like they
I
should
know.
feel confused, like, oh, wait, what did we miss? Yeah, you dropped the ball 20 years ago,
Yeah,
you
and here
know?
we are.
I feel that us as hygienists, we have to protect our best interests. They
Yeah.
don't have our best interests. We're always smoozing with them, and we need to be self-governed. That's how I feel. I
So how
feel
does that
like
happen?
we have to get unionized. I know it's a weird, tricky thing, but I was doing some research on it, and it can happen. And the thing is, like a lot of articles that you read, it says like, oh, it's usually done by an organization, right? Like, okay, you work for this one organization. Doesn't necessarily have to be. It just has to have so many members that want the same thing. And it can
Okay.
happen in private organizations. We have to do our due diligence on it, but we all have to be on the same page about it. We have to, unfortunately, we do. We've been trying to play ball, right? That has always been the idea. Okay, we want to play ball with you. We are your friend. We want to work with you. You're not taking me seriously. You're undermining me and my
Yeah.
profession. And you're basically saying what I'm doing is like, it's very minimal and unnecessary. So,
Yeah.
one or two things. You either advance everybody at the same time, like, okay, we're going to allow them to do this, but now you can open your own business too. So now the patients have the opportunity to get the better cleaning. So dentists do ortho in general. They've been doing all these Essex and retainers. They're
Mhm.
not orthodontists whatsoever. So if an orthodontist is a specialty in that field, then a hygienist should be able to have their own practice. That's it. If you want to go ahead and do what you want to do, you need to allow me. This is my specialty. This is my craft. Let me do it. And let the patients decide. This is America. And I do feel that the ADA has basically not treated us like Americans. Business, they're just holding our license hostage. And it's very, I feel like it's very un American, right? Because there's always a dental office across the street from a dental office. It's not about competition. It's like you have the freedom. I did the licensing, I paid my money, I got everything approved by the boards. I opened up shop. Why should I have to close? Right?
Yeah.
Why do I
Yeah.
have so much red tape? So I always use this to estheticians, which is something I'm thinking about adding to what I'm doing.
Oh,
But
that would be so fun.
yes, I'm working on it. But an esthetician can take a 9-month program and they can go open up their own business, make recommendations for your skin, do their facials. There's no dermatologist in there hanging out with them all day. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
dermatologists that do other medical grade things, but the esthetician is not reporting to a dermatologist all day long saying, oh, this, but can I do this? No, no, no. They have their own business in their city with their own schedule, doing their own thing. The dermatologist is around town doing their own thing. And my friend just opened her own practice. She's a registered nurse and she opened up a Botox lounge where she does Botox, she does facials, she does the IV. Her doctor, because in order to do Botox, a doctor has to be on your license, kind of like mine. The doctor came in, he gave her the Botox, looked around, oh, this is nice. I just soaked in the relationship. There wasn't like, why are you doing this? Why are you making money? Huh? He just said, oh, good job. This place looks great. Here's your
Yeah.
Botox.
Yeah.
I said, why don't
That's
we have
nice.
this relationship? Why do
Yeah.
you think that you own me? You weren't there when I went to school. You are not my bank account. You do not own me. We need to have that same relationship.
Yeah, I hope that it changes, and I hope we get out from under the thumb of dentists, because I think for most of us, we are overqualified to, like, provide care in an independent setting. But going back to, since you mentioned dentists, what are the rules or whatever as far as RDHEP and dentists? Do you have to have an agreement?
Yes. So you
Okay.
have to have a referring dentist on file that you refer to for restorative care. They have to follow up with the dentist every 18 months. So I'm doing preventative and the dentist is doing restorative. If I find something that I find suspicious, I send it over to my dentist to look at for restorative care. What he should be doing, restorative, not cleanings. Because I
Yeah.
just had a girl come in that she just went to the dentist and had her teeth cleaned. There was black calculus rim all on her lower anteriors.
Uh,
She's
that's a
I just
bummer.
saw my dentist. I said, "Oh, these are the things that I'm talking about. No standard. There's no standard
Yeah.
for hygienists." Yeah,
And
that's how I
ultimately, with
feel.
all this, it's like we're scared because our licensing or our livelihood really is kind of threatened right now. But the ultimate victim of all of this is the patient, right? And we're just going to see the standards of
Absolutely.
patient care go down and down.
Yeah. And you hear a lot of things like there's a lot of countries in Europe that don't have dentists. Well, have we done the studies and the facts and seen their oral hygiene?
Oh,
Have we seen how they're affected? I can only imagine. Not saying that there's not great dentists that can't give a great cleaning. All I'm saying is that we do have that here. We
yeah,
really do value what we're providing. And it's a service that has shown time and time again how beneficial it is to not only your oral health, but your overall health. We play a
right,
vital role. And if you did not spend enough time in dental school to understand how important oral hygiene plays, and I understand you didn't get to because you had to do so many other things, right? You had to do endo, they had to learn extractions, they had to learn a little bit of perio. But because they couldn't
hmm,
specialize in each one, does not make them the specialist in my field. That's why
yeah.
they sent me to
That's why we're
specialize in
here,
it.
right?
So let me do my job and you do your job. That's how I
Yeah,
feel. I feel like I come off so crazy too. I'm just so passionate
I can tell.
about
Yeah,
hygiene and the patients' lives that I change, watching them be in tears and smiling again, and just being able to be their advocate, it just makes my day. I love it so much. And I feel so bad that we're not further than where we are. But guess what? So the AP program has been here in California for so long. By the time that I became an AP, there was 80 hygienists in my class. 80.
yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. That's
And for a
exciting.
long time, it was only like 200, 300. We're over 1,000 now. What is that
Mhm.
going to tell our state? What does that generate to other states? Now, and this is why I help hygienists, right? I became a mentor and I help other hygienists open their office. I help my friend open her office. Now, if the board thinks that we just want to play around and just do this really on the side, we think this is a hobby. Now, if I help every hygienist in this state open their own practice or become an AP, the board would have to expand our functions immediately. They're like, oh my God, these hygienists want more. They're not playing. If every hygienist advanced their license, what are you going to do with me now? What
Yeah,
are you going to give me now? I just told you I want more. I'm going to pay for more. I would overwhelm the board if every hygienist had their own license and everyone started opening their own office. What are we showing the board? We're not playing. We
yeah,
want this. What are
yeah,
we showing other states that need to fall in line? We have board meetings. We talk about the therapeutic dentist. We talk about what we want here. And I do feel like us hygienists here, we are very serious about ours. We want it and we're going to get it. I hope like when I post my videos, I hope I'm inspiring and I'm hope encouraging and I hope I spark a light in another state because that's all it is you didn't reach out to your legislator. I emailed them. I know my local legislators and I tell them things I'm unhappy about. I hope it just sparks a light in other hygienists that, you know what? You can do it too. It's just no one's done it yet, you
yeah.
know?
Well, I think, like, people like you who are doing this is setting a great example. I mean, just your entire state actually is setting a good example, and hopefully other states can use you as, like, a model for how they want to start making change. But practicing independently, like, now that I know my or own my own business, it's like it's a total different mindset shift, going from an employee to self-employed. So what are some pros and cons that you've experienced as far as owning your own thing?
Yes. So definitely, I love it 100%. I love it because basically I've set up my website where someone can book with me for their cleaning, their consultation. They leave a deposit. When I get there, I know that I'm already getting paid. A regular day for me looks like I usually have a patient at 11 a.m. So I have 11, 12, 1. I usually take a break around 2 to go pick up my kids, and I'll come back 3, 4 o'clock, and I'm done. So I usually work 11 to 4. I've already set the rates. They're already up there. They know what they're going to pay. They usually pay me anywhere from 125 to 250. If I had two patients pay me 250, I made 500 within usually 2 to 3 hours. I didn't need to be clocked in somewhere for 8 hours to make that.
Yeah.
And then I go for a walk. I usually get up, have coffee, go for a walk, drop off my kids, go to the office. And like I do have my regulars, I do have patients that have autism and different things where I can make the schedule longer for them. I can adjust the lighting. No one's
That's so
telling me to
nice.
hurry up or do anything.
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah.
They paid for this time. They paid the 200. They want to be here and then they're going to get the whole time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so nice to
Um
just, like, set your own times. I feel like that's probably one of the biggest
The
benefits.
autonomy, the
Yeah.
autonomy, and obviously people are like, "Well, do you make the same? Do you make more?" Yeah, I could clock in and work 4 days a week and make a certain amount, which guaranteed, which I still do temp. I do temp at some offices because I do travel a lot, and my husband said,
Mhm.
"That's your travel money because 'cause you're always I'm always booking somewhere." But I would say there's no cons for me. There's only challenges, and some of the challenges, obviously, I'm in control of my overhead. I'm in control of the way I have to do my taxes, the challenges of making sure I'm always keeping my business licenses up to date every year. I got to make sure that I'm paying the city that I work in. I'm
Yeah.
staying on top of my professional licenses and also with corporation fees. So many like fees that kind of go along with being your own boss. And then I have to run my own autoclave and turn in my own sterilization.
Mhm.
And infection control things. So there's a lot to being a boss. Like it doesn't go off. I get emails like right now, I don't know if it shows, but my phone's going off. So I feel like there's no cons to being my own boss.
There's challenges,
There's
right?
challenges. If I
Yeah.
can do it, any hygienist, because I every time I meet a new hygienist, I go, yeah, we're the same. I can see the A type personality. Immediately I go,
Oh,
oh,
I
okay.
know. Yeah.
I go, oh God. I go, that's a hygienist. And speaking of that, I just expand my office. I just took over a new office. And so
Mhm.
I have 4 operatories now. I work with 3 new hygienists. Not new, they've been hygienists for a while, but now I work with them and I'm just so happy they're there. Like now there's 4 of us. And that's my ultimate goal is to open hygiene only practices. They are their own business and I'm
Mhm.
my own business, but they lease space from me.
Rent the op kind of from
They
you?
do. They got their
Okay.
own and I put in everything they need because I'd put everything I'd want. So I provided the chair, I provided the mobile cart, and
Mhm.
I just said, do you? And I just love seeing their face when they feel the autonomy, like, oh my God, no one's telling me I can't order this, I can't order that. Like, do what you want. This is your op, girls. Some
Yeah.
of them work really early, and I'm happy they came on because some of my patients, I cannot be there at 8. Because at the end of the day, there's enough plaque to go around. I don't need to be cleaning all these teeth anyway. These
Yeah.
girls, they want to be here at 8 a.m. Let them, right? So
Yeah.
some of them, I see like the thing go off, and I go, oh my God. Some of them, they're the hygienists. They might be there at 6 o'clock. So I just love seeing them shine. It brings me joy to see them like doing their thing because we have a on my website they have their own schedule now, and when I see it
Mhm.
pop off it's like, oh, someone has an appointment at 6:30. I'm like, oh dang, like, well, that's not me, but hey, do your
I'm glad
thing. Like
glad it's not me. Yeah.
it's just beautiful to see hygienists shine,
Well, you're
live up to
empowering
their full
them.
potential. Yes, living up to their full potential. Really, we have so many ideas of like marketing and where we want to go hit up, and because we're still hygienists, like I don't feel like I'm a boss of any kind. I just go, hey, like we're equals. Like let's go to these stores, let's go to places that we know that they have insurance so we can work on filing your claims and
Mhm.
getting them streamlined with that. So It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
I wanted to ask you about marketing. How do you find patients?
Me, I go to community centers. I go to low income like doctors' offices. I go to senior centers. I go to schools. I go to colleges. These are people that don't have insurance. A lot of people just find me online. My husband put a lot of SEOs in our website.
Mm-hmm.
And so people are just finding us. Usually I have like an email box full of people asking me like, do you take this insurance? You take this? And I go, yeah, bring it in. Come on, we'll figure it out. Come in. Because every new insurance that I process, it's like a learning for me too. I'm out there doing footwork. I'm
So
going
it's
anywhere and everywhere.
a lot of like outreach and networking.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
not necessarily ads.
I leave toothbrushes places, cards, pretty much anywhere really. Yeah. Everyone
Yeah.
needs their teeth cleaned. So
I know, and they will forever. Hopefully robots won't take over our job. I don't know.
I'll probably
Um,
have to, like, be taking care of that robot, like, maintaining it. I don't know.
yep,
I don't
like
know.
oiling it or
I'd be
something.
like, "There you go."
Before we wrap up, what are some things that hygienists should know about practicing independently that maybe you wish you knew, or just some advice for them?
You can do it. I just want all the viewers to know that if at some point your state can do it. Don't be afraid. Don't feel timid. I feel like there's a lot of fear that comes with opening up your own business. Like,
Oh
can
yeah.
I do this? Can I do that? Just make sure that you need to dot your I's and cross your T's. I'm always making sure I'm on top of my CEs. I'm making sure that my license is always paid. If you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, let people come in. Come see my wall. I have everything up to date at all times. Just stay on top of your stuff. But I want to let them know it's very rewarding. And I'm hoping that people can fight in these other states. I feel like the East Coast will come next. I feel like Massachusetts will be next. Anywhere, New York will be next. Obviously, with Colorado touching other, Arizona will be next because they touch us. Nevada will be next. You could like see it would take a long time for the South, but I don't
I
know.
know.
Now with the way social media is, states like Texas is like, oh my God, like they literally had to allow us to anesthetize, right? Like, how
They're
are we
like, we
have
need to catch up.
Here's the thing, yeah, because just like a lot of people are migrating, a lot of people have left California.
Mm,
They end up in these states. These California hygienists have been anesthetizing their whole career.
yeah.
And you see them in the comments like, wait, what? I usually numb for my doctor, I numb all the patients. What are you talking about? It's
That must be so hard.
embarrassing. It's just
Yeah,
weird.
I
Weird.
can't
Yep.
imagine.
I do feel like with all the migration, you will see that. You will definitely see a big push because people, they come in, they move, and they're like, no, no, I've been doing this. I can do this
Yeah,
confidently. I do feel like also the next generation under me, I do feel they're a little bit stronger. It took me a long time to grow into myself and grow some. I feel like I fell into that timid, like, I'm going to just be quiet, put my head down and do my
yeah.
job.
Don't rock the boat, don't ask for too much. Like, I
But you
was there
know what?
too.
Once I did, no stopping me. That was
Yeah,
it. I just want that for all my hygienists out there. And I hope that we could start touching other countries. And really, it's about approach, right? Because what is the dentist really afraid of? What are you afraid of? I think it comes down to money and the finances, and they feel like we're going to take away business. No, we're not.
yeah,
You want to know why we're not? Because this. So we are a gateway to the dental office. If a patient comes into a dental hygiene only practice, which they do all the time in my office, there's at least 10 plus hygiene only practices here that I know of. We all
mhm,
have our own practice. Patient comes in. They don't want to go to the dentist. They don't want to see the dentist. They're afraid of the dentist. After we educate them and talk to them about the benefit of going to see the dentist, they'll go. I've had patients that I've treated that would have never stepped foot in their office had I not referred. And so they really also have to look at that model. If you send hygienists out there into the field, you're going to see more patients, you're going to get more business because they don't want to see you.
yeah,
They may never see you. I had a patient, she's like, I'll never go. I never go. And I go, look at this guy that I trust, go see him. She texted me, oh my God, he was great. He would have never had that business.
yeah.
Never. So
Yeah, it's like zero marketing for him.
it's really us educating the dentist why one, us being independent is helpful to them. It's financially beneficial to them. So if they see the benefit of us being independent, there really wouldn't be a reason for us to have this such stringent like laws on us.
Yeah.
There really wouldn't be a need.
Last time I was talking to another independent hygienist, she's in New Mexico. Her name's Jasmine, and she was talking about that. She was like, "I refer to dental offices and it's a free patient for them. They didn't have to do anything for that patient." And she's sending multiple patients, and I was like, "Man, I wish dentists would see it from this perspective that we're actually
It,
helping them."
we have to educate them, right? So we've
Yeah.
only taken on the role as we have to shake it up. We have to change our role. We are just not this server. We're not this little profi mill slave girl. No, we're not. We are business owners. We are entrepreneurs, and we can help you grow your business
Yeah.
significantly. I
Yeah.
can't do it if my hands are tied. I can't help you. They don't even like the way it is, right? They even complain, the hygienist, ah. So why don't you let me go?
Yeah.
Let me do what I need to do and you could be successful. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
totally.
it's us. We have to get in a new frame of mind. Like, I don't have to be an employee, and that's okay if they
Yeah.
want that. But I do feel like we should have the option. Just like a lot of my friends that are RNs and nurse practitioners, they have the option, and the doctors that they work with, they don't have this same weird, like they're in a weird relationship,
Like the power
abusive.
dynamic.
It's just really, really outdated. And even some of the female dentists I ran into, like I do know a lot of amazing dentists, but I do run into some that I don't know if they even like understand how valuable we really are.
Yeah. I think some don't, unfortunately. Yeah. So
A
you
lot.
help hygienists if they want to start their own thing. So if
I
somebody wants to
do.
reach out to you, what's the best place for that?
They can email me. They could send me a message on Instagram. My
Mhm.
box is always open, no matter what it is, even if it has anything to do with AP or if they're just a new hygienist or even a seasoned hygienist. If they just have any questions, I just want anybody to know that you can reach out to me anytime. I'm a helping hand. I'm rooting for you. I'm your teammate. We're in a sisterhood, brotherhood, whatever. I just want you to know I have your back. And I just hope that I'm starting a new culture. There is no like competition between hygienists. Like, you bring something so different than what I bring, and together it's just wonderful. So I just hope that I can keep generating a new, stronger relationship between hygienists and helping them feel like, just like even in some of these platforms where they're attacking, like, no, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I go, whoa, 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 we are the same.
Yeah, we
I
are the
start
same.
defending
Yeah.
other hygienists. I go, please do not ever bring down another hygienist. You know what this person's going through. Do not do that. You need to have your fellow hygienists back. You need to group up. You need to team up together. You need to get together in a locally, and you will see how fast hygiene will grow. It's not this one against this one. No, you guys need to get together in your local group and start talking, like buzzing. What do you want to see? What
Yeah.
should we see? What do you think? There's so many hygienists I know that can do this and this, and I'm like, that I want you on my team. Why do I feel like I want to be against this person? No, the more the merrier. Let's go. So really, if I could work with like three more hygienists in my office, that would be great.
I know, like, sky's the limit, right? Well, I love
Yes,
your passion. I love how you're just like a cheerleader for all of us. I'll make sure to put
yes.
your contact information down in the show notes. And thank you so much for your time today. You gave so many tips today. I can't wait for this episode to go out.
Oh, good. And I hope I was helpful somewhat. I don't know everything. I'm just like you. We are the same. We have the same skill set. We have that same passion and drive. I just have found a way to kind of like get it out there, and I just
Yeah.
want that for all my hygienists. I really would love to live in a world where they're like doing their thing, opening their thing, and just living their life to their full potential and being happy. The goal of my new office is I want hygiene to evolve into a health and beauty wellness. So my goal is to lease the other two rooms to estheticians to provide facials, skincare, and I really want it to be about the face, right? Teeth, lips. I want clients to know that hygienists don't just work in this dark and dingy dental office and it's gray and it's scary and I'm going to take your x-ray and hurt you. We work in spa-like settings. You can get a facial, you can get your teeth cleaned, and I do feel like targeting and marketing it that way, it's self-care, right? And
Mhm.
so that's how I am hoping to evolve dental hygiene and hoping that it can branch out into different areas like that.
I love that
And
vision. Yeah,
and
and I'm
people
sure that
love
you will
it.
do it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for everything for you for the future, and thank you again for your time, and thank you everyone for listening. We will see you next time.